So I was filming some shorts in here earlier, which is why I have on lipstick, and then I went for a run, and so I'm really sweaty. And I meant to do a little update on my Agatha Christie journey. So I'm halfway through. I got this, I can't remember if it was 2 weeks ago, maybe. I've just been reading a little bit before bed at night. The experience has been okay. I know this is a hot take, but I'm a little bit underwhelmed. There are a lot of characters, which I kind of expected, and so it's been a little bit difficult for me to keep everybody straight. And then it also, like, because there are so many characters and because I don't know exactly who is who, the character development isn't as strong as I'd hoped, really. And this might just be because I've been reading it over a spread out time, and I'm reading it when I'm tired, you know, before I go to bed at night. But yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought I would enjoy it more. And it's not that I haven't enjoyed it, but I haven't been like totally immersed in the story like I've gotten in other books that I've read. This is the large print version. So this version is like 380 pages. And this is not really a spoiler because it's called Death on the Nile, but the death did not occur until page 180. So it was a lot of build up and introduction of characters and like setting the scene, sort of, I guess. And then finally, like a third of the way through the book, that's when the murder took place. And so it is starting to get more interesting as they're starting to solve the crime. But I feel like I have no idea who the person was because, and again, this is like generally speaking. So if you haven't read this, this should not be a spoiler. At least in the TV series that we watch, Murder, She Wrote, it's never the most obvious person, or it's very rarely the most obvious person. So there's a character in here that you're like, oh, that person definitely did it. But then she has a strong alibi, and it's just not her. And so I don't have any idea who it could be. So I feel like it would be more enjoyable if I had known the characters a little bit more and been able to make some guesses at least. Like right now, I'm just like, I don't even know what's going on hardly. So I do have another one of our books called, what's it called? Murder on the Orient Express, I think. And so I'm going to try to read that one a little bit differently. I'm going to try to do it within the span of a week. And I'm also going to listen. So on my run, I started listening to this. And even that didn't help that much. It was very interesting because the characters' voices are all different and stuff. So it's fun, but and it helps me get a little more reading done, but I don't feel like I'm understanding anymore. Like, I feel like if I were to understand everything, I'd have to start over, and I'm not doing that. So I'm learning for next time to read it in a shorter span. I might even make like a character map, or at least like list all the characters and a few characteristics about them so that I, you know, can then make some guesses of who they are. So that's my update for now. Okay, I realize this camera angle is not the best, but that's what we're working with here. I am at the library. I'm here to return this Agatha Christie book, Death on the Nile. And honestly, after my last update, things really took a turn, I guess, for the better. It got a lot more interesting, and I was worried about not being able to like even make a guess of who the murderer might be or who done it. But okay, so this shouldn't be a spoiler, but the author did a really good job of like recapping who all was on the boat to begin with and kind of creating a list of suspects. So that was good because I really needed that. Otherwise I was going to have to start over, and I wasn't planning on doing that. So I did enjoy it. It was like unpredictable until the very last page. And I can't say that I liked the ending. I really like to read redemptive fiction, and this to me didn't have any or much redemption, really any at all. So I don't know if that's how all her books are. I mean, it was definitely entertaining and interesting, but I don't know if it's something that I would want to read a lot of, just because I don't know if it really benefited me that much. I don't know. So anyway, I started the Jessica Fletcher novel that I have last night, and I'm only 2 chapters in, and I'm already enjoying that one a lot more. I already know some of the characters. It's not really a fair comparison because, you know, like I said before, I've watched that show with my husband for the past few months, and so I already know some of the characters, so it's easier for me to like be in that world and like imagine their faces and stuff. And it's also told from a first person point of view by Jessica Fletcher. And so that's just more engaging to begin with for me. This was told by a narrator, Death on the Nile. And so, yeah, so overall, I'm surprised because Agatha Christie is supposed to be the best. And so I thought that I would like her books more. But so far, J.B. Fletcher is ahead in this race. But, you know, like I said, I'm only 2 chapters in. So I'm going to read that one. And then I'm going to read the other Agatha Christie book that I got. I think it's called, I can't remember, but I'll let you know whenever I read that and see how it goes. Hey y'all, so it's been a while since I've given a reading update. I actually finished the Murder, She Wrote book that I was reading about a week ago. I took it to the library and then I was going to film when I was in the parking lot of the library, but there was a group of teenagers in the parking lot and I just don't have that kind of self-confidence. Anyway, it was okay, like solid middle of the road, just okay. I enjoyed it because I'm familiar with the characters and the setting and everything, so it was easier for me to get into it. And I think I already mentioned that it was told in first person, so it was more engaging than Death on the Nile. However, I have started reading Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, and I'm really enjoying that. So right now, if I had to rank them, it would be like backwards order. So I would say Murder on the Orient Express right now is first, and then maybe Murder, She Wrote, and then Death on the Nile. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but Death on the Nile, the copy that I got was large print, and the book was not really divided very well either. Like there was no table of contents or anything, and it was all just one continuous thing, and it would have like numbers, like Roman numerals to separate the chapters, but they weren't on separate pages and they didn't have any titles. And so it all just kind of ran together for me, and it wasn't easy to keep up with what was going on because of that. So I want to show you how this book is set up because it has been a totally different reading experience. First of all, it's a lot prettier. I mean, I just love the gold embossment or whatever it's called. And then look at the inside cover. That is just so fun and so pretty. Okay. Whenever you get a few pages in, you've got a table of contents, which is normal. That's a normal thing to expect in a book. The other book just didn't have it though, Death on the Nile. Then it's even got a cast of characters. So it tells kind of their role and their name and then a little bit about them. And you may or may not remember that last time when I was reading Death on the Nile, one of the things I was concerned about was keeping up with the characters. And so I was actually planning to make a list of characters for this book, but they already did it. And then we've got the facts. And so this is what happened. Then when we get to part 2, each chapter is the interrogation, I guess, of a character. So this one is the Swedish lady. And then what was that one? This one is the American lady. There's even a little map of how the train was set up. So this is set on a train. And then it tells you like who was in what compartment and all of that. So it's just much easier to follow. It's much better organized. So I did think that it was going to be East Asia because it's called the Orient Express. And a lot of times that means East Asia, like China, Japan, and so forth. And I've been to those places, and that was one reason why I was excited to read this, but it's not set there. It's set more in the Middle East and even into Europe. So they started, I think, in Iraq. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere, I think, yeah, Baghdad, Iraq. And then they're traveling to I really am not totally sure, Turkey, and then like on to Paris or somewhere. So it's really not the setting that I thought, but it's been really fun and engaging. So far I would recommend this one, but we'll see how everything plays out. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention, in Death on the Nile, it took forever for anything to happen. Like it just was so much of setting the scene and introducing the characters. And this one, the murder took place, I don't remember exactly which page or chapter, but really early in the book. So this one has just been a lot faster to read to and a lot more engaging. And let's see, I think it's a little over 200 pages. I'm on page 134, so I'll probably finish in the next few days. Okay, this is another new angle. This is my bedroom at my house, and as you can see, I have some clothes on my bed. My husband told me I looked tired when he got home, so if I look tired, I am. But anyway, I finished reading, oh, I'm blanking on the name. See, tired brain. Whatever Agatha Christie book I was reading, Murder on the Orient Express. Oh goodness. Okay, so I filmed the last clip on Tuesday, and then today's Thursday, so I finished it on Wednesday. So I finished it yesterday, and here are my thoughts. I enjoyed it. It was good. I liked the ending. It was a big plot twist. I did not see it coming whatsoever. You know, the whole time you're trying to figure out, okay, who could it have been? And I never would have guessed it in a million years. So that's fun and not fun. And here's what I mean. I feel like there's this thing called, like, I think it's called the zone of proximal development is what I learned about in grad school, where whenever you're learning a second language, you need something to be challenging but not too challenging in order to make progress. And if something is not challenging enough, if it's too easy, then you get bored and you disengage. And so I feel like this book, or these types of books, are just a little bit out of my zone of proximal development. Like, it's just a little bit over my head. And I want it to be difficult to guess because that makes you want to keep reading and stuff. But the fact that all of these were so hard and so, like, far out of left field that I had no idea was kind of like, oh man, like, I feel like I am not good enough at it to even, I don't know. Like, if this was a game, I'm not even playing the game. Like, I'm not even in the game. I can't play because I don't know how. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, like, the plot twists are fun and exciting, and yet it's fun to be able to be like, oh yeah, I saw that coming. And for these last 3 books, I've been like, yeah, there's no way I saw that coming. Also, like I said, this one, the ending was good in the sense that I felt like justice was served. And so, you know, it's kind of weird. Like, if you read it and you're like, oh, what does she mean? We can talk about it more, but I do feel like justice was served, and I was okay with how this one ended. And the Murder, She Wrote one, I was fine with how that ended. The Death on the Nile one, the ending really bothered me and I didn't like it. And I don't know if I've said that before or if I even realized how much I didn't like it until, like, I've had some space away from it. But yeah, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. There was also one comment in this book that I felt like, why was I even in there? The author said that one of the characters was having an impure thought, and she did not go into the detail of what that was, but I just felt like, why mention that? And so I would just, you know, warn you that that is in there. It's one line, and it just says that he's having, like, inappropriate thoughts, but it doesn't say what they are. So if that bothers you, then maybe don't read it. But I was able to move past it and get to the ending. I mean, I was almost done anyway, but it did not go into anything graphic or anything like that. So with all that being said, and I just heard the door open, so I might get interrupted. With all that being said, I don't know that this is the genre for me, and I'm a little bit disappointed because, like I said at the beginning, I used to love reading mysteries when I was younger, and I really thought that I would still enjoy reading mysteries, but this just isn't doing it for me. And, you know, in some ways, like, of course, I've grown and matured, and so I can understand why my taste would have changed. And I'm not saying that if you like these books that you're immature. I'm just saying that what I want in a book is different now than what I wanted when I was 10. I think when I was younger, I just wanted to be entertained, and now I do want to be entertained, but it's very important for me to have redemptive elements in a story. Like, you know, I've said this before, I'm really more of a nonfiction person. I do enjoy fiction and I read fiction, but I guess I'm more selective with fiction. I don't know. I mean, I'm selective with the nonfiction too, but maybe picky is the right word. I really want, if I'm going to read fiction, I want it to be good, like well written, and I want it to have redemption. I just love stories that have that thread and that have hope and that leave you on a positive note, honestly. And so if I had to say out of these three, the last one that I read, The Murder on the Orient Express, had the most redemptive element, but I wouldn't say that it was a story of redemption. It really wasn't. It was more justice being carried out. So for that reason, I think I'm done reading these types of books. It's just not the genre for me. And I'm really excited about the next book I'm reading. It's actually propping up my phone right now, so give me just a second. Next book I'm reading, because I've been like craving a redemptive story, and I actually just started studying reading Romans just on my own. So I kind of wanted to get some of the like cultural and historical context, and I'm not turning to this fictional book to get like facts or anything about the Bible, but just to kind of like immerse myself in a similar time period and learn about it. I decided, oh, and one other thing, this is a lot of lead in. One of the girls that I follow on YouTube, her name is Oshina. She changed her handle recently, so like Oshina Reads Co. maybe. She's doing a Francine Rivers read along the whole year. Like she'll choose one book a month. And the one for April is a book that I actually asked for my birthday in January. I've read it before and I wanted to reread it again, or I wanted to reread it anyway. And so I've heard that she was doing it, and then I started studying Romans, and I was like, this is a great time to read this. So yesterday I started A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. It is so good already. I mean, I've already read it, but that was like 3 years ago. I know that this one is going to have that redemptive storyline and arc and everything. This is biblical fiction. So it is set, we start off in Jerusalem, and I don't remember, I think it might be AD 70. The temple gets destroyed, and so, you know, the Romans are there and all that. So, you know, again, it's not the exact same time that Romans was written, because they believe that that was written in AD 57 or AD 54. I think AD 57. So this is a similar yet different time. So I realize that. But, you know, I just wanted to read it. And I am kind of weird in that I read like every single page of a book. Like I read the acknowledgments. I read everything. And so this book started out with a foreword by Mark D. Taylor, who is the president of the publishing house. It's Tyndall House Publishers. And I just really enjoyed that, which, I mean, if you've been on my channel long enough, then you've seen me like sob at the author's note on a book. And I was just telling my mom that I absolutely like uncontrollably sobbed at the dedication of a book that I read yesterday. So it doesn't even have to be in the actual like contents of the book. It can be any part of the book that just really gets me. So anyway, this one was talking about fiction and like the heart behind this Christian publishing house, kind of like back in the 90s expanding from just doing nonfiction trade books, so like basically spiritual growth books, to including fiction. So I want to read you what this man said. In 1992, Tyndall House made a conscious decision to begin publishing excellent fiction that would help us fulfill our corporate purpose to, and this is in quotes, minister to the spiritual needs of people, primarily through literature consistent with biblical principles. And then it says, I'm going on down, we began to recognize, however, that we could carry out our purpose very effectively through fiction, since fiction speaks to the heart rather than to the head. And I think that's really important, because you have to realize that every publisher and really everybody has an agenda. And that agenda could be to spread the gospel and to make life-giving fiction like this, or it could be another agenda. And so I think that we really have to be careful with who we read and what we read. And one way that we can be selective in that and know that we're reading something solid that aligns with our values and encourages us in our faith is to look at the publisher. So this one is Tyndall House, and some other ones I can recommend would be Bethany House. It's funny, the first book I picked up is Bethany House. I was looking for another one. Zondervan, I think. Okay, this is nonfiction. This is Waterbrook. So anyway, if you're wondering, is this book going to bring life to me? And does it have redemption? And is it going to encourage me in my faith? then I can't say like undoubtedly that if a book has been published by a Christian publisher that, you know, you get the thumbs up because they're all different, but that's a good place to start. So I think with that, I will end this video. My arms are getting tired, and so I'm sure the camera's kind of shaky, so sorry about that. But yeah, I will look forward to updating you on how this goes. It is heavy at the beginning, but it's very much so worth the read. As you can see, it's thick, but it's a quick read. You're not going to want to put it down. And actually, I really wish that there were more biblical fiction like this, because I'm starting to ramble, but I've tried to read other biblical fiction and it just isn't very good. The things that I've read, or I just can't get into them. But this is excellent writing, and I'm going to stop talking about it and maybe go read it. So thanks for being here and have a great day.